This is an analysis of how Hozier's Take Me to Church subverts religious interference in basic human desires, specifically sexual desire. Hozier uses music in conjunction with the lyrics to convey this disdain of religious interference in sexuality. The most obvious example of this is in the pre-chorus. It begins with an unexpected rest in the drum beat when one would expect a snare hit.
With you, I was born sick, but I love it. Command me to be well. Yeah.
Instead, the drums disappear and Hozier sings a series of amens only accompanied by the piano, which plays almost entirely major chords.
Well, yeah. Amen. 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 Take me to church.
It's almost as if the genre of the song is suddenly switched in the pre-chorus and you are sitting in church hearing your pastor lead the choir in singing amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Sing it all.
The pre-chorus is joyful, full of major chords, and contrasts very well with the verse preceding it and the chorus following it, both of which use almost entirely minor chords, and convey a more melancholic or explicitly angry feeling. The sudden series of amens seem out of place, artificial even. The amens and the gospel-sounding music interact in the pre-chorus to produce a representation of what Hozier believes to be the fake or falsified joy of forced adherence to religious boundaries on sexuality. Lyrically, Take Me to Church is soaked in religious language or imagery turned on its head and used to resist religion. Consider the chorus. I'll worship is followed by like a dog at the shrine of your lies. I'll tell you my sins is followed by and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless is followed by death. One by one, he pounds these religious phrases down with the true sentiments he feels towards them. The sacred is profaned. Hozier himself admits to using this technique in an interview with the Weekend Australian, saying, I quote, I was trying to use the language of the church somewhat against itself. When I googled responses to Hozier's Take Me to Church, some of the top responses were strangely from evangelical Christians, not even the audience Hozier intended. Hozier said, This song isn't about Baptist or evangelical Christianity, it references more the Catholic Church. This shows how unintended audiences can sometimes respond to a piece of resistance art. Although Hozier intended the song to question the Irish Catholic Church, I would argue that the song was still effective in resisting bigger picture institutional interference in sexuality and, well, humanity. These Christians clearly took the song as an attack on the church in general. One pastor writing for the Christian Post drew an analogy between the dangers of Hozier's supposed misrepresentation of religion and the dangers of pseudoscience. Other Christians, though also cut to the heart, were more sympathetic with Hozier's message. For example, Bay Area Christian Church's blog says that Hozier has the right problem, but the wrong solution. The blog acknowledges hypocrisy in the church and the inherent human need for love, but says that the relationship with God is the solution, and that the love of a man or a woman simply cannot take that spot. Summing up a few of these responses, Hozier's song causes a healthy questioning of religious repression of humanity. There is no better way to sum up the intended and achieved effect of the song than a quote from Hozier himself. It's not an attack on faith. Coming from Ireland, obviously there's a bit of a cultural hangover from the influence of the church. You've got a lot of people walking around with a heavy weight in their hearts and a disappointment, and that shit carries from generation to generation. So the song is just about that. It's an assertion of self, reclaiming humanity back for something that is the most natural and worthwhile, electing in this case a female to choose a love who is worth loving. Thank you.